edition of the Unstoppable Denominators channel of our podcast. So, I have a very, very interesting lot of topics we're going to be talking about, but you're always welcome to share this podcast after this video is done. I don't care if you share it with your friends or family. If you are mind blown over everything I be talking about, you guys are more than welcome to share this podcast, and so that way they can at least hear what we are talking about during this podcast. So, like last week or the past 2 weeks, we are also airing this on YouTube every week. Pretty much every day we're adding this on our single day on our YouTube channel called the Unstoppable Podcast channel on YouTube. So, but like I said, you guys are welcome to share my post on this, like I always share on my main page on Facebook. So let's get into this topic. First topic I want to be talking about is Polybius. I think that's how you pronounce it. But the most dangerous arcade game in the world. A new podcast takes a deep dive into one of Portland's craziest urban legends. If you haven't heard of Polybius, here's the short version. In the fall of 1981, a mysterious video game suddenly appeared in arcades around Portland. The game, a black box with no name that involved geometric patterns and colorful shapes, was instantly. Do you believe Polybius is real? Yes, I believe so. Well, actually, I don't know. We have to get into this this article before I believe to know if it's real or not. This is the first time I actually know about this. I was sent an article about this, and also you guys are able to leave links in this podcast to actually, if you guys want me to do a story on it, send me a link in Messenger, my personal page, or on this podcast channel, or in the links below or something like that. I don't care. If you want me to do it, I will, but it might have to do it in the next podcast. So, because I got pretty much a whole lot of topics I got lined up. So, geometric patterns and colorful shapes was instantly addictive, hypnotic, and in some cases dangerous. Two teenagers suddenly disappeared after playing it. Interesting. Mysterious men in black suits periodically came to service it. Is this the fact that, Men in Black movie? Is it based off of that? To be honest with you guys, I never actually watched Men in Black movie. I know. You guys are probably be like, what is wrong with you? You should watch it. Or, why didn't you watch it? It's because I'm not into much of movies. So, I'm pretty much like a TV show guy or a video gamer, Was it a secret government research program using gamers as Witten guinea pigs? Was it part of the CIA's MKU Ultra mind control program? Maybe. In Radio Topic's latest showcase podcast, no, the men in black in this situation is the Black Ops agents. Oh, okay. The Polybius conspiracy, an original 7-episode series that aired its first episode on October 6th. Co-producers John Fretchett and Todd Lurado investigated just that. Polybius was the name players later gave to the game, borrowing the name of the Greek historian famous for relying on first-hand accounts. In 2011, Lurado approached Fretchett with an idea of making a feature film about Polybius after first coming across the legend online. Fretchett wasn't at first taken with the idea, but with a contract at the conspiracy Ground Zero, Dylan Reef, who eventually became the field producer for the podcast. The filmmakers made a research trip up here in 2015 when a Kickstarter campaign to fund the film fell through. Fretchett and Lurato looked towards a more inexpensive medium, podcasting. We started shooting little interviews, and originally they transformed into a documentary, says Lurato. At this point, we sort of thought truth was stranger than fiction. We interviewed everyone from regulars at Ground Control to video game designers to arcade owners to journalists that had grown up in Portland area. With 2 episodes remaining, episode 5, The Cellar, aired on November 10th. The story reveals the real people behind the assortment of conspiracy theories sustained throughout the years by keyboard activity and online forums. Healthy skepticism about whether or not the game ever existed abounds, but is that even the point? What's really interesting about Polybius is not only the legend, but also these strange characters and stories that orbit the legend, says Fretchett. Take, for instance, Bobby Feldstein, who claims he was abducted one afternoon when he was 14 after playing the game at Coin Kingdom and experiencing mind-alternating side effects in the podcast first episode. Feldstein tells producers he was led through a series of underground tunnels akin to the tunnels of Portland's Shenanigans lore and was found the next day more than 60 miles from his house in the middle of Tillamook State Forest. Feldstein claims there was another boy with him, one who rescued him. Feldstein gives for-profit Polybius walking tours around Portland that attempt to authenticate his experience by returning to the former basement of Coin Kingdom. interesting. He claims the ordeal of that abduction ruined his life, telling the podcast audience doing the tour is a way to exercise my demons on a daily basis. Fledstein's account isn't the only example of Polybius' lifelong effect. Ernest Kling recalls hearing about Polybius as a whisper across the arcade games floor as a teenager gamer in Central Ohio. Today, Kling is the author and screenwriter of the video game dystopian bestsellers Ready Player One. I've heard of that, actually. Ready Player One. Is this actually based off that game? Off that movie? Because I actually wanted to see that movie. And I actually had it on my DVR. And all of a sudden, it disappeared on my DVR. I don't know why, but you know how Spectrum is. And Armado. Both works have been opted for big-time Hollywood production, with the former receiving the Steven Spielberg treatment. Due for release in the spring, in an interview in episode The Fretch and Lorado, Clint cites Polybius as an influence on his work. But is it Joe Streichert's story of hearing about Polybius for the first time that reflects the experience of many who keep the legend alive and well? In the early 2000s, I sort of became aware, like a lot of people who were dwelling on the internet, that there was a killer video game from Portland, Strecker, who gives lectures in Portland about video game culture and history, tells listeners the conspiracy as the podcast uncovers stems from a single post online exposure from the mecca of video game chat rooms. CoinUp.org in the early 2000s cemented its place in pop culture. As the producers continued their research as interviews, they found a theme. There were as many different versions of a legend as there were people telling it. At this point, as I'm reading this, it sounds fake, so that way they can just tell a story and make a movie about it. But that's in my opinion. I'm sorry to say. I feel like it's just, how can people disappear over a video game and be killed from a video game just while they're playing it? How does that even happen? Disappear and killed. That doesn't make any sense. This is sort of the nature of the world that we're living in. This idea that consistent reality is being I don't know. Fresh it says, everybody has a version of reality that they've embraced, and it's often reinforced through their online interactions. He adds that the podcast won't give those eager for definitive truth a final answer on Polybius. There are also people who have stories, whether you choose to believe them or not. Like I said, I just feel like it's just a whole bunch of BS. And how can people just disappear from a video game? That makes no sense. They're just out there just to make a story and talk about your bullshit and want the attention and make them famous. That's what I think that had happened. I'm sorry to say. I don't know about what you guys think, but that's my opinion. How can you go disappear from a stupid video game? Okay, so what if I say, oh, I'm playing my favorite game, MLB, the new game that just came out over last year, MLB on Xbox. It finally came out on Xbox. Say, oh, I'm playing it, and all of a sudden I disappear. Nobody hears from me. That doesn't say that nobody heard from this guy. I don't hear something like that. You guys don't hear that. They haven't heard from this guy. I want to see saying that, oh, my friends or family haven't heard from me and they thought that I died or got kidnapped or something. I don't hear or see that in this article. So I can't believe that this article is true over a goddamn video game. I am sorry. So this person's making up a whole bunch of bullshit just to get famous over some stupid video game. I'm sorry to say. That's how I feel. But anyways, let me know in the comments below what you guys think about this story. Anyways, let's move on. Let's close this one. My good computer, like I said, it's still giving me bullshit. Let's move this computer over, and we're going to end this.
Hey, everybody, it's your boy Skiz here. And if you don't subscribe to Blonde and the Unstoppable Denominator, then you are a toothy bumfuck, pussy-ass bitch motherfucker.
In the sticks with the hicks and the firearms. You might come up